What's up, you guys? Happy day. It's a happy snow day. When you guys jump on, give me a hello, give me a hi. I love the snow, so if you're in Colorado, I was super happy today. But I know not everybody feels that way. So anyway, I think my only concern is going to be that we don't get this much snow at Christmas, and then I'm going to be upset. But I'm taking it while I can take it. So, hi, Michelle. All right, guys, so I put the title, hi, Ash, as Ugh, it's just so confusing. I may never get there. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys about this realization that I had, and kind of what used to go through my mind and what doesn't go through my mind anymore, and what I want to help you guys get to. So a lot of you guys know my story around food and body and dieting and the struggle, and I felt like I never had any freedom, right? And I literally remember seeing people and it was just like, gosh, like I talked about this last week, like it just looks easy for them, right? Or I would look at their bodies and I had a really bad body image, and I would be like, how do they do that? Like, it's just not possible for me. Like, my body will never look like this. I've done all the things. I do all of the things. I count the calories, and I do the exercise, and I do the things, and I don't ever look the way I want to look, right? And I wasn't happy, and I didn't feel good, and I had all those things. And so that was the thought that played in my head for a long time. And I had a buddy, and this seemed so shitty at the time, that said this to me, and I'll tell you guys the story, but now looking back, it was probably true. And so, like, I was working out 2.5, 3 hours a day. I was counting massive calories, so I was underfed, I was overtrained, like, my body was in massive amounts of stress, and I never looked the way I wanted to look. Like, I was never really overweight, but I was always skinny fat, and I didn't like the way I looked. And I remember we were at a bar one night, and one of my buddies was like, I was drinking, so obviously that was playing a factor of it, but one of my buddies was like, do you really do that much? Because you don't look like it. And I was like, F you, dude, like whatever. But that was the truth of the matter. For how hard I was trying and all the things I was doing, I wasn't getting anywhere. Like I wasn't getting to where I wanted to go. And so for me, there's been this huge shift, right? And you guys know we have the shift program coming. We have a big announcement coming tomorrow. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But I finally realized that when I got all of these things in line, all of a sudden it was easy. And that was something I never thought it could be. I never thought it could be easy. I never thought I could feel comfortable in my own skin. I never thought that I could actually look the way I wanted to look and feel about myself the way I wanted to feel. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, what changed for me? And so I want to talk to you guys about the things that changed and how you can do it too, okay? So first and foremost, I stopped focusing on what my body looked like, and I started focusing on what it could do. Okay, so that started with me when I started CrossFit. It was all of a sudden I wasn't working on a place where there were mirrors. And instead of focusing on like how small could my jeans be, I was focusing on how big could my deadlift be, right? And I'm telling you guys, it's much more fun to chase a 300-pound deadlift and I'm still chasing that, but that's why it's fun, than chasing like, can I get into a size 2? Can I get into a size 0? Like, there's no fun in that. And so when I started focusing on what my body could do and not what it looked like, that changed. And lo and behold, my body did change, right? Like as I started actually working out in a way that challenged it and caused it to gain muscle, the composition of my body did change somewhat. But on the other side, so shift is 4 things: feel, focus, nourish, and move. So my movement changed, okay? So that was different. So I wasn't doing a bunch of cardio. I came out of triathlon training and I started actually lifting. So my movement changed. But then my nourishment changed, right? And so back in the day, we went paleo. And so it was really focused on quality and not quantity. And that was really new to me because my whole life I focused on quantity and not quality. So that shifted. And when that shifted, so did my body, right? And my enjoyment of the whole thing, right? Because I didn't have to count calories. I didn't have to be restricted. I didn't have to be in this box. I got to like eat for nourishment. And that worked for a while, right? And then obviously most of you guys know that kind of backslid when we started doing challenges at the gym, and I was talking about dieting all the time, and that got me back in that mindset, which proved to me that that 4th part, which is feeling, was a huge missing component, right? I wasn't feeling my emotions. I was still restricting. So yes, I had a better relationship, but I was still in a really disordered mentality. And I want you guys to ask yourselves this question. Like, if you're in a place where you're not comfortable with who you are and how you look and all that kind of stuff, like how much time you're spending every day thinking about food and your body? Because I know for me, it was a ridiculous amount of time. Like probably 60% of my day. I said this to Brandon the other day. I was like, how did I get anything done? Because I was continuously worrying about what I could eat or what I couldn't eat or how much I had to work out, or like I was just in this box of stress and like it wasn't getting me anywhere. And so when I learned all the things I learned of how do I actually get to feel, what is food actually doing for me? Like what need am I chasing and how can I shift that and do it in a different way? Everything opened up, right? Like everything changed once I started to go, okay, it's not about food and it's not about my body, right? And so that changed because I was like, I am moving it and I am nourishing it, but it wasn't ever about just those things, right? And so when I added in feeling, that was a huge component. And then the last piece is focus. And like when I learned to change my focus, everything started to shift. So, I mean, if you guys have followed my journey, I've gotten a lot more woo-woo and I've gotten a lot more into like manifesting the things I want and really focusing on like, where am I going and not what do I not want to have happen, right? And so I had so much stuckness in my life of like worry and fear and doing things out of fear, right? Fear-based decisions that I was always focusing on like, well, what if, and what if this doesn't happen, and what if that doesn't happen, right? And when I started being like, that's where I'm going, what do I have to do to get there, right? What do I have to do to get to that version of myself and to get my business to that version of my business? And like, once I started doing that, it was inspired action and faith that if I did the things and I stayed in alignment with my values and my vision, then it was going to be easy, right? And then that's what the big shift was. And so what I want you guys to understand is that like, you get to shift your whole life. You get to shift how you feel. You get to shift what you think about. You get to shift the things that show up in your life. You get to shift how you nourish your body and you get to shift how you move. But when you do them all together, like it took me 10 years to put all this stuff together, like 10 years for me to get all the pieces to finally work. But I know it was all happening for me in perfect timing. So I have no like qualms about that. But like once I got all the pieces in line, then it just seemed easy. And I was like, oh, I can have that body, have that business, have all these things because I finally figured it out. And so the revelation I had this weekend, which kind of got me thinking, was that we were at the Turkey Challenge and there's some amazing athletes. And I still look at people and I'm in very much awe of really, really muscular women. I think it's awesome. I think it's amazing. And yeah, I would love to have an amazing six pack. And I used to think like that's never in my wheelhouse, right? And I was looking at some of these women this weekend and I was like, wow, that's awesome. And I had this feeling that I've never had in my life that I was like, and I could look like that if that mattered to me, right? But it doesn't really matter to me anymore. But I was like, wow, that's crazy because over 10 years now, I've been consistent and I've been committed to learning about myself and I've been congruent. I've had curiosity. I've had all the C's that we talk about in Shift to get me to that point. And I was like, that's a really empowering thing to be like, I could do that if I chose to. Now, what it would take, I'm not currently that's not in alignment with my life, right? Like I don't want to be super strict and do all of those things for X amount of time. That's not where I'm at, right? I'm also not in that space of being a super competitive athlete, but knowing that I have the power and that I've always had the power and now I have the tools, that's what's changed. And so that's what I want you guys to understand about our Shift program is that we spent 10 years trying to figure out how all the parts go together, right? Like how do all of these things work together? Because we saw people have results over here and then have results over there and then and I'm talking emotional and physical and all of the things, but like how do you actually get them to go together? And so that's what we've put together with our Shift program is that it's the actual strategy and tools and actions and all the things you need to do to actually start to get your life to go from here, which is maybe the trajectory you're on, or maybe it's going this way right now. So how do we slowly, consistently, congruently make this 1% change so that in 6 months, in a year, you're in a totally different place? And I can tell you guys, I am a completely different person than I was a year and a half ago. And it's not that hard, but it takes consistent action and knowing where you want to go to get to that point. So I just want you guys to understand that right now, if you feel stuck, and if it's a time of year where either people love it or hate it. I love Christmas and I love that time of year, but it also brings out a lot in people. You have to be around family. You have to be around food. You have to be like all of the things, right? And then we all start to go, oh my gosh, the year is over. Like, did I accomplish what I wanted to accomplish? Why do I still feel this way? Why am I still stuck? Like, if you're feeling stuck, we can help you. Like I can help you get unstuck, whether you feel stuck with food and body, whether you feel stuck with your health, whether you feel stuck with whatever, like all the concepts are the same. And there's a way to get unstuck, and that's exactly what Shift is going to do for you guys. Is it's going to make it easy, it's going to make it fun, it's going to help you get unstuck and finally feel like you have the power that you've always had. So I just wanted to talk about that because I thought that was a really random, like, cool revelation that I was like, oh, it's not a mystery anymore, right? It's not like this elusive thing of how do I get to that place? Like, now I know how to do it, and I get to choose whether I want to do it. And I'm telling you guys, I've realized in the last week that one of my biggest values in life is freedom. And so having freedom from food, having freedom from restriction, having freedom from just that feeling of this weight on the world is so incredible. So if you want to feel more freedom, if you want to get unstuck, if you really want to start to change and you want to say, look, maybe 2019 didn't go the way I wanted. It's not over yet. First of all, there's still a month left. You can start to make big shifts and you can start to be like, I am on the right track, but next year is going to be the year that you really get to shift your life and you get to do those things. So keep an eye out on our on my page tomorrow. We're gonna announce the big thing that's coming with Shift. We put so much time and energy into how do we serve you guys from a place of love, that you'll get the best results, and we've got it all figured out. So I hope you guys are enjoying this amazing snow. If you're in Colorado, we got to go play in it. The girls, I love the fact that as soon as we walk outside, we had to go shovel straight to snow angels, and I'm like, these are my kids. Like, I could live in the snow. So I hope you guys had a great day. I hope you stayed safe and you stayed warm. If you have questions, if you want to feel that freedom, let me know. But if you have questions, I would love to answer them, and I'm here to help you. So thanks for hopping on, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.